Hello, Chanelle, and welcome to Dalais Talks. And why do I already want to start to cry?
Don't worry, I'll join you in 2 minutes, I'm sure. Don't worry.
No, it's so funny because for anyone listening, we did a little pre like strategy session 2 weeks ago, and I was in tears in that already. So we just showed each other we've got our tissues handy. So
Exactly.
let's get into that. So you and I have known each other for quite a while. It's been like 7, 8 years that we've known each other now
Must be, sure.
from our South Africa days. Because both of us are not in South Africa anymore.
Exactly.
Um, and wow, how our lives have changed. So, firstly, tell me how things in Dubai. Are you loving it?
Dubai is amazing. So I've been here for about a year and a half now. And yeah, I came here when I was 17, came to visit my aunt and uncle who were living here. And I just came back home and I said to my mom, I don't know why, but I know that one day I'm going to move to Dubai on my own. And there was a certain area that had just been built. And I said, I want to live in that area. And well, cut to, I'm now moved here on my own and I'm living in that area. And yeah, I
Wow.
can't believe that that's manifested for me.
Well, talk about putting stuff into the universe at a very young age, and look at you now.
Exactly. And likewise with you. I know that you're also big on
I
manifesting and
know.
you've created a beautiful life there. So well done.
Yes, thank you. It's all about like God putting us in the right place at the right time.
Absolutely.
So yes, you've had quite a few hectic years. So tell me a bit, your moment of realization that, listen here, now it's time for me to take control of my life again and start a new chapter. Tell me, how did we get to where you are now? Because you are truly, and I think that's why I'm so emotional about your whole thing, is you are not only stunning from the outside, but your soul and your heart is just incredible. So I think that's why I get choked up when I talk to
You
you
make
about
me
these
choke
things.
up.
Hey, tell me.
Thanks, you.
Let me share.
Oh my gosh, no, don't get me going. We're on the first question. All right. Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. And as I say, I'm just so proud of you and how well you've done in your life. And you mentioned I've been through a lot. Sure, I have, but I think that's a great place to start because we've all been through our own bits. Everyone has a cross to carry. Everyone has a burden to bear. I'm not alone in that. And I think unfortunately social media today has really skewed that perception. And everyone seems to be living an amazing life, but everyone has a story and everyone has a struggle. And my path is my path and I take full ownership of it and have full acceptance of it. I didn't for a long time, of course, when I was going through
Yes,
a lot of trauma, but now being on the other side of it, I can really look back and it's honestly, Yulet, it's a miracle. I'm not going to lie to you. It is a miracle that I'm here, that I'm able to smile again, that I'm able to be happy again. And I think, the reason why I wanted to come on here, I have shied away from talking about anything to do with my journey for a very, very long time, for many years. And I really just feel like if I've been able to overcome something, and if there is any way possible that I can just give someone a little bit of hope, then I'd be more than happy to do that because I think that's kind of the beauty of this world. We're all connected in some way and we shouldn't just live for ourselves. We should live for each other and to help each other and for community. And this journey has really, really taught me that the people around you are everything. If I didn't
yes,
have the family that I have, if I didn't have the close friends that I have to get me through this, I don't even know where I'd be, honestly.
yes,
And you mentioned such a crucial word. You said, when did you take such a crucial word, rather? You said, how did you take control of your life? And I think control is
yes,
really the crucial word there
yes,
because for as long as I can remember, I loved to control everything in my life. I'm a perfectionist. I was an absolute control freak. I had the perfect plan for my life. Everything was perfectly planned till the last, to my last breath. And well, everything was going according to plan. It all worked out great.
Yeah.
And I really thought I was living my dream in a lot of senses. But, one day I woke up and I realized it's not really a dream, it's more of a nightmare. And to accept that was really difficult. But I think that really was the biggest lesson was we actually aren't in control. That's really the truth,
No.
yeah. I think, I really got to a point where I'd reached my rock bottom and I really had to surrender completely. And I just said, this is too big for me. And to anyone else who's been in that position, I really, really empathize with you and I have so much compassion because when you hit that point, I remember saying, I don't have the strength to do this anymore. I just don't. So I called on God and I said, God, please get me through this. Whatever you do, please just get me out because I can't do this anymore on my own. And he yanked me out of this dark, dark place that I was in. And I remember telling him, I said in one of my prayers, I've always been very, very spiritual, but nothing compared to what I am now, not even close. You think, oh, I go to church, I was raised Catholic, I went to a Catholic school.
Yes.
That's not even close to really being connected. And it's really unfortunate often when you do reach your rock bottom, that God does pull you out when you just surrender and say, I give this to you. I can't do this on my own. This is way bigger than me and I need your help. And I said to him, God, if you get me out of this, I promise you that I will tell everyone that you did it for me. And so here I am, and I can't believe it so many years later. And it took me a long time, but I am here now, and he did get me out. So,
Oh, and I'm super proud of you. And you mentioned something at the beginning about social media, and it's true. I mentioned to you when we spoke 2 weeks ago that from social media, you looked like the happiest person in the world. And it's scary how a misperception we have of people's lives through social media. And I think it shows you really what we see on screen is literally only a drop in the water of what goes on in people's lives behind the scenes. And
absolutely. Look, I think one thing I have learned, I did a lot of therapy through this journey, but the one thing I did learn was we have these things which we call maladaptive coping mechanisms. And I know for sure mine since a very, very young age was I had this sort of ability to go out into the world as if nothing had happened. So I was just very good at brushing things off, somehow
okay,
just clinging to that joy within and just being able to just connect to that instead of facing what was actually going on. And so I became really, really sort of an expert at that. I was great at suppressing or avoiding or hiding from. But now I've realized that just causes you the world of pain. Honestly, the only way to get through something is literally to go right through it, right through the center of it, all the way. And I remember at the start of my journey, I said, I don't know how, but I'm not doing this. I stopped drinking. I was never a huge drinker, but I stopped drinking. I wanted no medication. And I said, I'm doing this once and I'm doing it the right way. And I'm going in. And this is scary. And I'm digging up everything that I've been trying to suppress for so long. But we're doing this and I'm doing it properly once and for all. And by the end of this, I want to make sure that I have hopefully no trauma left in me and only love in my heart. And I would say, as probably only a month ago, so it's been a lot of years, but probably a month ago, I've got to that place of, yeah, I just feel very at peace, which is it's a miracle. Honestly, I never thought I would feel so peaceful. I mean, I had this overwhelming anxiety, and I know that, you've also shared some of your struggle
yes,
with anxiety, and I think it's become so common, which just breaks my heart. I mean, I knew nothing about it until, quite a few years ago, but that it's just this overwhelming sense of fear and you just can't shake it. And there's nothing that you can do. You can try all the breathing techniques, this and that. They only get you so far. It's sort of a very temporary relief. And I then also developed panic attacks, which to anyone that's had them, honestly, my heart goes out to you. It is probably the scariest thing that I've ever experienced, and mine were what you call rolling panic attacks. So they were happening every hour on the hour. They just wouldn't stop. And generally, if you have one a day, I mean, I don't know if you've experienced this, Juliet, but it basically wipes you out for the rest of the day. I'm so sorry to hear that. But yeah, it just wipes you out. You are completely depleted from that. Now, when they just keep coming and don't stop, it just wreaks havoc on your system. It really does. But you know, there is a way out. Yeah.
But I think the scary and most important thing is that you decided to tackle all your trauma head on, like you said. And I think that's a big fear for majority of the people. And I think that's where I thank God I'm pretty good with that. When I do feel I need help, I'm very quick to reach out to people. And I
Amazing.
think I told you that I'm the type of person who will meet a random on the road and be like, oh, this is my whole life story. What do I do? And they'll be like, what do you mean you're crazy? Like, I don't know you.
I love that.
So
I
that's
love that.
my problem. And I tend to overshare way too much.
I
Oh,
don't
that's
think there's such a thing. I just think it's you being completely authentic and completely honest. And to me, those are two of the most attractive qualities in a human being. I've truly come to realize that. I definitely wasn't always authentic, I'll be honest. I was the complete opposite to you. I would suppress everything. I would show the good parts, but never the bad parts. And honestly, when you show the full picture, that makes you a beautiful human. I look at you and I just see openness and transparency. And there is nothing more beautiful because that's the only way that we can
Aw,
actually truthfully
you can make me
connect.
cry again.
Crying is good. It's cathartic. Trust
I
me, I never cried
know.
my whole life. Honestly, I cry pretty much every day still. And it's just it's not even when I'm just sad, when I'm happy, when I feel for people. It's a really beautiful release and it's very natural and it's very good for you.
Oh no, I cry very easily. I would watch a series or read my book and I'll be crying, but I'm trying to hide it. And so people look at me, it's like, are you crying again? I'm like, yes, this is happening in my book or my story. And he's like, you are such a rando. I'm like, I know, but I don't
No, I think it's
feel,
beautiful.
I love crying. It's the best thing ever.
Agreed.
Like Cedric tells me a lot of the time, you're like, I'm very open and he tells me a lot. He's like, your face, people can like read your facial expressions. He's like, just zone it in a bit. I'm like, I can't control. This part of me I cannot control. What comes out there, it's what you get. So
You're late, it's because you're so authentic. That's why. It's a good thing.
yeah, but if I
Who wants to mask
know
it?
where I stand with you, yeah. If I'm
Exactly.
annoyed with you, you'll see it instantly. Trust me,
Exactly.
you'll see it. So that's why in our house I can't hide anything.
Don't. Don't.
Yeah.
Avoidance is anxiety's best friend. So don't.
Why do I have anxiety then? Because I'm such an open book.
We've spoken a little bit
That's
about that. Yeah. Yeah, but
yes,
there's
we've
always a
spoken
reason.
about that.
Anxiety is actually a very normal feeling. That's also something I think there's a huge misconception around it. It's an alarm bell. It's an internal alarm bell that's telling you
Yes,
something isn't right here. And until you fix what's not right, that alarm bell is going to keep going off. So it's a good thing. We're supposed to have these signals. My dad always says, he says, your body is like a dashboard of a car. And when there's lights pinging and going off, it's something telling you, hey, stop, low tire pressure or oil change or something. Something's not right and something needs fixing. Otherwise, you are going to break down. It's just that simple. I think we're so good. Our mind is so clever. God made us so beautifully that we are so good at suppressing and hiding and just not listening to what our mind's trying to tell us. And then what happens is your body steps in and your body gives you signals and says, hey, something's not right here. And that's really, I mean, essentially, that's exactly what happened to me. That was my aha moment, is I literally had to wait theoretically until my body basically was shutting down. And until that point, I wouldn't listen to my head. I wouldn't listen.
and unfortunately, all of us we wait until our bodies shut down before we actually act.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, I literally, I moved back in with my parents a couple of years ago, and my mom hadn't seen me in a while. And when she saw me, she got the biggest fright. I I equally got the biggest fright a few days before that. I sort of just looked at myself in the mirror, and I'm sure there's so many people that can relate with this. And I said, who are you? I had lost all sense of self. And I think when you reach that point, yeah, it was pretty much, I think I left 2 days after that to go to see my parents, and my mom saw me, and, I was very good at, as I said, hiding everything. And I think I was a very proud person, which really doesn't serve you in the long run, because really that's just ego
No.
talking. I really need to admit that. And I think it's so powerful, and it makes you so much stronger to be able to share what is actually going on. And yeah, when she saw me, in 24 hours, my system started shutting down. So, then the body spoke, and I had
It's
to really get onto my journey. So it took me, I was in therapy, 9 different types of therapy for a year and a half full time. And I also understand that is a very unique case where, I had my parents to take care of me, and I was able to not work during that time, but there was no way. I mean, I got to a point where I couldn't walk, I could
mm,
hardly eat, I couldn't breathe. So, I mean, your normal bodily functions just
my
were
God.
non-existent. But yeah, I did put in the work. I did. And I know that it's so scary. And I know that, it's just so much easier to live the way that we're living. But I promise you, if you just go through it and you get onto that other side, there is a peace beyond all
Mm,
comprehension on the other side of it, and a freedom, and just I just got this love in my spirit that I just want to give, and that I am able to give now and able to receive, which is really, really beautiful. So if anyone's contemplating, hey, do I keep just living the way I'm living, or should I actually go through it and do the work and dig up the things that I've been hiding for so long? I could not encourage it more. It's difficult, it's excruciating, I'm not going to lie, but
I
when
can
you come out on the
imagine.
other side, it's unbelievable.
You say you did 9 different types of therapy.
I did. I did.
And which one to you was the almost effective? Or do you think it was just a combo of the 9 that just saved you through all of this?
Such a good question, you led. So I think at different times of my journey, I people honestly were truly heaven sent, sort of just came at the right time for the right thing that I was trying to heal.
Okay.
And so, but I would definitely say my top three, definitely CBT therapy, so cognitive behavioral therapy, which is
Okay.
really just gets you to talk. I wasn't speaking about what was happening, and it was just this beautiful, safe space at the most incredible therapist. And she just offered me this safe space to just open up and just talk and just listen and just be sort of like a big sister, to me
Mm.
in so many ways. So that was really great for me. Another really, really pivotal therapy that I did it's called EMDR. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that.
I've read up about that a bit and I'm very
Right.
intrigued about that.
So that for me was probably, yeah, top two. So EMDR, in case you don't know, it stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy. So if you have really painful traumatic memories that, give you flashbacks or cause the panic attacks, or, cause you to not sleep, like I would wake up in the middle of the night sweating and just like with heart palpitations, remembering these things that just would come at random times of the day. It really takes the charge out of that traumatic memory, and it was
Okay.
the most powerful thing. Truly, it actually mimics REM sleep or REM sleep, and so
Yes.
your subconscious mind is really now working. So REM is when you dream typically, and it
Mm.
takes you back to that state. And so it is unbelievably powerful, really, really incredible. And then the last one, which I would also, oh gosh, I can really rant and rave about, is somatic healing. So because a lot of my trauma was stored in my body, I needed to, so obviously mentally I had to release things, spiritually I had to release things, emotionally, but physically. The last bit was the physical. My body was still holding on to everything.
Yes.
And so I went to a somatic healer who worked with me physically. Life changing, literally life changing. And honestly, everyone on my journey was just incredible. And I remember towards the end of it, when I went for sort of my final checks with my doctors, every single one of them just looked at me and said, it's a miracle that you're here now.
You,
Especially so quickly, and how you've just overcome this. It's a miracle. And I'm like, I know. And honestly, Yulette, although everyone was incredible, the team that I had were the best that I could possibly find at the time. But I would say that probably took me about 50% of the way. And the other 50%, it was spiritual. It was God. I mean, I'll tell you something so powerful. When I was getting the really, really bad panic attacks years ago, it would happen everywhere, no matter what time of the day, no matter where I was, no matter who I was with, they just kept coming. And there was only one place where the second I walked into this place, they just stopped. And that was church. And that's when I knew, hey, this is where I need to be more. Clearly, something's happening. It was just,
yes.
I would walk in, it happened, I can't tell you how many times. I was working back then and in a corporate job, and I would leave the office and drive to church. So there wasn't a service on. I would just walk in there, and I'd be having a panic attack, and I'd walk in, gone.
Instant.
I would leave, and it would come back a little bit, but it was absolutely unbelievable. And I thought, and that's when I knew this is where I've got to start. And even now, if I feel an uncomfortable feeling come up, I say a quick prayer. I've done it on dates. I've done it with friends. I've done it out. I've done it in meetings. I've done it in classes that I'm teaching. No matter where I am, I promise you, I just start saying a prayer within 2 seconds. Gone. Absolutely gone. So yeah, it is miraculous. I can't even explain it. Honestly, I can't, but I can only tell you that this has been my experience, and that's been my saving grace.
Prayer is power. Prayer is power.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, what were some of the most important steps you took to heal and rediscover yourself after everything? Like, I know the 9 steps or the 9 types of therapy you did were obviously very important steps, but a lot had to happen before going into that whole process.
So I think you say rediscover yourself. It's interesting because for a long time I really thought that I had completely lost myself. And I did in an essence. But
Yes.
you can always find yourself again. You know, I think we all go through those times, no matter what type of trauma you face and no matter what situation you're in. I think to some degree, we all go through that journey where we don't really know, what's next? Where should I go? What should I do? Who should I be with? What should I do in my career? What country should I live in? I think we all go through those kind of moments. And although I really believe I did completely lose myself, your light is still always there. It is always there. Mine was on 0.001%. It was very dim, but it was there. And it was that little tiny percentage that just, I had that hope, and I just held onto that and held onto it and held onto it. And to be honest, Yulette, I don't even feel like I've just found myself again. I'm so much better than I was before. And I really, it's still sometimes quite difficult for me to say that because I don't want to seem self-righteous in any, it really
No.
does not serve me at all to say that. But I think that trauma a lot of the time can harden you. And I think it can really harbor a lot of feelings of resentment and bitterness and hatred for what you've gone through, or the person or people, whatever the case is. But mine has completely softened me. I'm the softest I've ever been in my entire life. I feel more for people than I ever did in my entire life. Honestly, all I want to do is help. I have this absolute burning desire within me to just help people. And it was definitely always there. But it's actually funny. I did this talk many years ago, and this professor asked me, he said, where do you see yourself in 15 years' time? And I just blurted out, I didn't even think about it. And I said, well, I see myself hopefully inspiring other people. I'm not sure how, but I just do see that. But I just don't feel like I've gone through enough hardships in order to be able to inspire people yet. And as it came out my mouth, I was like, oh no, why did you say that? Now you put that out into the universe. But I was right. Something within me, there was a knowing. And I knew something was coming for some reason. And it did come. And I also think it was meant to come, because it is only once you've been through the dark that you can really see the light, and that you can really help other people and try and hopefully pull them out of that place and give them that hope to cross over that bridge. Because There's always another side. There really, really is always another side. And on this journey, it's been up and down. There's been times I've had small victories, and then you think you take 12 steps back, and you forward and back the whole time. And it can be discouraging. It really can. But there is another side. I can promise you that. And yeah, so it's not even about rediscovering myself. It's actually, I think, just being who I've always wanted to be. Honestly, I knew where I wanted to go. I just had no idea how I was ever
Yeah.
going to get there. And yeah, I just think that once you do the healing work, the trauma actually begins to soften you so beautifully, and it brings out compassion and empathy and just an understanding for other people so much more than I ever had before. I think I was always empathetic, but nowhere near this. I was definitely very closed off in terms of my emotional side, for sure. I can very openly say that. But now the floodgates are open.
Mm.
And
But
yeah,
I think you say it softened you, okay? But I think it's also made you a lot tougher and stronger. Like you will not allow to yourself to go through what you've gone through again. I can tell you that.
from your lips to God's ears. No, look, that was also a huge cause for the healing journey. Is I thought this can't happen again, because unfortunately that is what happens with traumatic events, is we keep repeating the same cycles over and over
Mm,
again, and that becomes our normal. That becomes our comfort zone. And I physically, I could not do it anymore. I didn't do it for a long time. And even from childhood, there were things that kept happening in my life and just cycles. And eventually I said, this is enough. I can't take this anymore. And if I don't change, if I don't put a stop to this, it'll just keep happening. No,
yeah.
it's enough. So yeah, I think, in terms of strength, I think we all have it. We all have it,
Yeah.
100%. But there's also supernatural strength, and we need to acknowledge that. And all you do is just look up. That's it. Honestly, just look up and surrender it. And that supernatural strength carries you like I cannot even explain. It makes me so happy just thinking back. It was like I was on this ship that was just carrying me through wave after wave after wave. And trust me, there was like tsunami after tsunami. Just when I thought I was up, boom, I was back down, and it just kept coming. But I just kept getting the strength from above. It's just that simple. Because I also kept asking for it, right? We also have to ask for it. Ask and you shall receive.
You have to.
You have to ask for it. And
100%. The worst that can happen, if you ask, they say no. But God will not say no, He'll just say,
he'll never say
no, not now. It's not your time.
sure.
Not now.
He prunes us and shapes us in the most beautiful and excruciating ways sometimes. But, like a diamond, we have to get put under that pressure in order to get refined and shine again. And, as I said, when I was going through it, wow, I did not feel like I was getting refined at all. I thought I was just getting, slapped from pillar to post. It really didn't feel like that. So if you are in that season, just know the diamond's coming. It's coming. It's preparation for something. It has to be. And that
Just keep
really
going.
helped get me through. Just keep going. It's going to get better. I promise.
Like Dory, just keep swimming.
Just be like Dory, everyone. Just swim.
So obviously, through all of this, your self-confidence took a massive knock, um, on top of a lot of other stuff that took a lot of knocks. How did you rebuild your self-confidence and sense of purpose during this journey of healing
It's a very
and
beautiful question.
reinvention?
So, self confidence and purpose, I would address as two separate things. So, self
Mm,
confidence for me, I'll be very honest. Growing up as a child, I think that wasn't something that I particularly struggled with. I think I always had a lot of self belief. I did a lot of things. I was always performing, so I was always on stage or in front of a camera,
mm,
and it does take a lot of self belief to do that. So that wasn't
yes.
something that I ever particularly struggled with growing up, but for sure. This journey, it knocked me completely. I really had pretty much no belief left in myself, and that was very, very scary. But the thing that helped me the most was discipline. Self-confidence to me truly is. It's keeping those little promises that you make to yourself, and that just feeds you. It does something to you. It's, if you say, I'm starting gym on Monday, and when you don't start gym
Yes.
on Monday, that you just feel
Guilt.
awful. You just, that guilt
Mm.
and shame, and you don't feel good about yourself. Same as if, you cheat on a partner, you don't feel good about yourself. And it's the same thing. You're
No.
essentially cheating on yourself. You make a promise to yourself, whether it's tiny things or the big things, and you keep it. And that was one thing I really was able to foster very meticulously during my healing journey, was a routine and discipline. I figured out a type of training. I used my Pilates knowledge and my personal training background, and I figured out a type of training that would help me. Remember, I can walk at a stage, so I was flat, but I knew I needed to somehow move my body and get my muscles stimulated again. I lost a lot of muscle.
Mm.
And so I developed a type of training that was very low impact, lowers inflammation, lowers the cortisol in the body. And I built on that. And now I'm actually training women with the same method, which is incredible in and of itself. I mean, I remember sitting in my parents have converted my brother's room into a little gym. I remember sitting on the mat, and I couldn't even bend over to touch my toes. The pain was just excruciating. I couldn't
Mm.
breathe. And we're just crying and being like, how will I ever be able to move again, walk again, let alone train women to do the same thing? I mean, I sit there in the studio some days and I'm like, how am I here? How is this possible? So that for me is self-confidence. So it's getting that schedule
Yes.
up and running. So that schedule that I set for myself then, yes, the intensity has increased a little bit as I've gotten better over the years, but I've stuck to it. The way that I ate then is exactly the way I eat now. The way that I trained then is exactly the way I train now.
Okay.
I've not missed a single session in years, except for when I'm sick. I don't play with that, but I have not missed. So that has really helped get my self-confidence. Those little promises I make to myself, if something scares me, I do it. I just do it. I feel that fear. I get all the feelings, but I just do it. So just do it. It doesn't even matter what the outcome is. The fact that you just go for it will immediately make you feel so much better because you honored the promise that you made to yourself. So that for me, that helped me with my self-confidence. And in terms of purpose, so I've qualified as a life coach now, and I specialized in purpose training because I really did struggle with
Okay.
that in my journey. And on when I was training to become a life coach, we all think that purpose is something that you do, right? So my purpose is to be an
Mm.
actress. My purpose is to be a Pilates instructor. My purpose is to help other people, to serve. And sure, that, we get there, but it's actually not it. A purpose is not something that you do. Your purpose is to be 100% who God created you to be, who you were destined to be. So, your best and highest self, that is your purpose. Because when you are that self, the doing part is a natural byproduct. So, if I
Yes.
am being, let's say, for Pilates, I'm in great shape, I feel fit, I feel healthy, I'm being the best I can be. I've kept my promise to myself. I'm now self-disciplined. I've got all of that in check. Well, now I can go and train other people. But it's not the doing
Yes.
thing, because what you do can be taken away from you at any second. Your path can change, something can
Mm.
happen, and you can't put your value in that, because then when that goes away, where's your purpose? Where's your value? Where's your worth? Your purpose is being exactly who you are meant to be, the best you. That's your purpose.
That's very interesting because Cedric and I had this chat the other day. He asked me, he's like, I said, yes, I'm loyal. And he said, no, that's like, no, no. He said, I said, I'm a Pilates instructor. He said, no, that's what you do. He's like, who are you? So I was like, okay. So I
Yes,
was like, okay, I'm
Cedric.
loyal. And
Come on.
I know my husband is like a hidden little talent there, like a little coach there when he wants to be. I just
There we
don't
go.
really listen to him. So tell me quickly, um, I don't know, I hope he doesn't listen to this episode because then I'll never hear the end of that. So Pilates was a big part of your healing journey as well, as it was for me after the death of my dad. And
Yes,
it's just incredible how movement also heals.
totally.
Don't you agree?
Totally, totally, totally. I honestly, and it is the somatic healing. It's the mind body connection. Sometimes we don't listen to what's up here, but we can't deny what's in our bodies. We can't deny
Yes.
that. And trauma gets trapped in the body. When we move through that and we move the body in a way that is supportive of our stress, doesn't up the stress. So for me, hit was
Yes.
not an option. Running long distances was not an option anymore. All of that was not an option. I had to slow down. And sometimes we think we have to speed up and do more and eat less, and it's the complete
No.
opposite. I was eating probably more than I've ever eaten, training less in terms of the impact, and the benefits on my body was unbelievable. This helped lower the stress, the inflammation. So yeah, movement and Pilates. I mean, Pilates is an incredible form of movement, especially when done correctly.
Yes.
And I know that you are incredible. So for those who don't know, Yolette was actually my Pilates instructor many years ago. That's how we met. And
That
she
is
really
how we
fostered
meet.
my love for Pilates. So she is
Ah,
incredible at what she does. And yeah, you really, I mean, there's so many times in class when I still hear your voice, tucking your tailbone, lift up. I hear it all the time. So
that
thank
makes
you
me
so
so happy
much
to
for that
hear.
gift. No,
I
truly.
had I had great mentors. So I just passed on the knowledge. So
Sure.
I keep inspiring, like you say. So tell me, I always ask everyone at the end of it, what is your three timeless tips? Any tips that you live by that you want to share that can inspire or help?
Only three.
I put you on
So
the spot.
many.
Only three.
Only three. Do you know, honestly, what just keeps coming to mind? And I have no idea why, but I'm just going to say because it's just what's on my heart. Eat, pray, love. Honestly, eat,
Ah,
pray,
man,
love.
I love that.
Eat because honestly, I think we are in such a tumultuous society where there's just so much going on with food, but food also brings joy, and food is social, and food is community and connection, and this deprivation and this era of a lot going on. I don't want to get into that, but
Oh,
enjoy
yeah, no,
enjoy
that's
the
not.
social aspect, enjoy in nourishing your body and fuel yourself. It's so important. What you put in your body is so important. That's 80%. 20% is movement, 80% is nutrition, and but
Mhm.
also then balance. If you want the chocolate, please just eat the chocolate, honestly. Not every day for every meal, but enjoy your food. 80 to 20%, so
Yes,
80% clean, 20% enjoy. Eat, pray. I mean, we've spoken about it.
we- yeah.
The proof is in the pudding. Just send a prayer up. You know what? Just try it. Hey, well, there's nothing. What's the worst that
You've
can
got nothing
happen?
to lose.
Give it a go. Send it upstairs. See what comes down. And love. Truly, I think without love on this journey, love from the people around me, love from God, love from within, just surrounding myself in love, you've got nothing. Love is everything. It's truly is everything in this world.
And then last thing, are you a sunrise or sunset person?
Definitely sunset. Definitely sunset.
If you can go on a sunset walk with anyone, who would it be?
Oh, Jesus. Simple.
Oh
I
man,
have so many
oh
questions to
man.
ask. How am I doing? Is everything okay?
Can I
What more
send
can I
my
do?
questions to you, please? Because
Please.
I also have a
I'll
few
get on a
questions.
scroll from everyone. Okay,
Like
no.
one of those that roll. Oh man, Chanel, we've had we have so many other things that we can talk about and discuss about this whole journey you've been through, but I just want to tell you I'm so incredibly proud of you. And for everyone that personally knows you, knows what you've been through, and they see how much stronger you've come out of this. Like, I didn't think it was possible that you could be any more beautiful, or any kinder, or any sweeter, or have a bigger heart that you already had, but you do. And it's just the proof is in the pudding. Don't, no crying. We can't, we end the show with that. We end the episode with the crying, we end it with the crying. But truly, you are the walking, talking example of you can make it through anything, and just keep doing what you're doing and keep inspiring and keep eating, keep praying, keep loving.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Yolette.
you
And
so much.
right back at you. Honestly, you are. I mean, I've always known it. I absolutely adore you, and you're a light in this world, and the world needs more of you. So keep shining.
Right back at you.